Open any app, turn on any screen, and you are immediately hit with the demand for an instant take. We live in an ecosystem that rewards having an immediate public opinion on every complex issue that crosses our feeds. We have built a culture that equates the sheer volume of data we can broadcast with actual intelligence. If you can quote a headline or drop a statistic into a comment section, you are perceived as informed. But maintaining this constant posture is exhausting. Constantly projecting an expertise you don't actually possess requires a massive amount of psychological energy, all spent trying to convince strangers of your intellectual worth. Despite having access to more information than any generation in history, the result is a deep, pervasive anxiety. We are overflowing with facts, yet we feel entirely disconnected and bone-tired. The attention economy has not made us wiser. It has simply infected us with the compulsion to project absolute certainty. And this compulsion is making us genuinely sick. This exhaustion was diagnosed 2,500 years ago in the Tao Te Ching. Chapter 71 frames it clinically. Not to know and yet think we do know is a disease. It is not a metaphor. Projecting certainty while ignorant is a literal illness of the mind. The text offers the baseline for a healthy intellect. It argues that to know and yet think we do not know is the highest attainment. This is epistemic humility, the profound comfort found in knowing exactly what you do not know. The cure for our modern anxiety, then, is not to consume more data to win arguments. It is to change our relationship with our own ignorance. Chapter 70 notes a frustrating paradox about this cure. The author writes, "My words are very easy to know and very easy to practice, but there is no one in the world who is able to know and able to practice them." This diagram visualizes the problem. It shows a balance scale representing the inverse relationship between outward certainty and internal security. We fail to practice humility because we are terrified of being perceived as ordinary. We weigh down the outward side of the scale simply to avoid looking like we are falling behind our peers. Chapter 72 outlines the inevitable result of this imbalance. When we thoughtlessly indulge in this public performance, the structure breaks. We become, in the words of the text, wary of what that life depends on. By refusing to accept the limits of our knowledge, we spend all our energy trying to prove our relevance. That exact effort triggers the burnout and dread we were trying to avoid in the first place. The Taoist texts present an alternative through the archetype of the sage, the figure who actually manages to practice this philosophy. The sage operates on a strict inversion of modern values. Chapter 72 explains that the sage loves but does not appear to set a value on himself. They possess deep self-respect, but they refuse to put a public price tag on their intellect for others to judge. Chapter 70 illustrates this with a specific image. It describes the sage as someone who carries their signet of jade in his bosom. The jade represents a profound, inherent substance that does not need to be displayed to be real. While carrying this priceless jade internally, the sage chooses to wear a poor garb of haircloth. They are perfectly content to appear completely ordinary, even unimpressive to the outside world. True mastery requires completely decoupling your internal self-worth from society's relentless demand for outward proof. Compare the effortless lightness of the sage to the heavy, exhausting reality of our daily lives. We spend hours parading our opinions, terrified of being caught without a take. There is an immediate psychological relief available to you right now. It washes over you the exact moment you give yourself permission to simply say, "I don't know." This awareness acts as an absolute shield. Chapter 71 states that merely understanding the pain caused by the disease of knowing is exactly what protects you from catching it. Chapter 72 ends with a clear directive. The sage actively looks at the pressure to perform, rejects the external parade, and makes the deliberate choice to protect the hidden jade. You have the power to instantly step out of the exhaustion of the attention economy. You just have to realize that your true value never required an audience in the first place.